This is either going to be super embarrassing or super inspiring. You decide. Hello everyone, it's Kat here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are making a trip down memory lane because I'm going to show you my first ever bullet journal. I'm going to be comparing my 2017 bullet journal with my 2025 bullet journal, which is my eldest and my most recent bullet journal. When I first started bullet journaling, I really had no clue about what I was doing, and I started pretty simple, and then with time I got better and better at it. And thankfully for you, I have been documenting my entire journey here on my channel with my monthly setups since 2018, with plan with me's, flip throughs, and bullet journal ideas videos. And now I have my own personal style and I can teach you how you can find yours. So if you have just started bullet journaling or didn't yet because you are scared that you're not artistic or creative and are afraid to not know what you're going to do in your bullet journal, let me show you my first ever bullet journal so you know that you don't have to be afraid of any of that. Alright, let's get into it. So here is my very first bullet journal. I used this bullet journal in 2017 from May to December, and yes, this is written in Portuguese because when I started bullet journaling, I decided that I wanted to try it in Portuguese and then change it later on to English. But you're going to see lots of things in Portuguese, but don't worry that I'm going to translate pretty much everything that it's useful to translate. This is a Moleskine notebook. I remember that when I first started searching about bullet journaling, this is one of the notebooks that people would recommend for beginners because first of all, it's not that expensive. It's soft cover. The pages are like this off-white yellow color, and it's the perfect notebook for you to use as your first bullet journal because it's not like the big thing like a notebook therapy one with thick bright white pages. It's more like in a soft side notebook, and because I got so good reviews for a beginner's notebook, I bought it as my first bullet journal. So when you start, I actually did a key here on the side, and again it's everything in Portuguese because I saw lots of people using their key on this side of the notebook to just keep track of their key and not forget what the key is. This is my year cover for 2017. As you can see, it's pretty simple, really straightforward, because one thing that I wanted to do in this bullet journal was to be extremely simple in my pages, really like straight to the point for productivity, and I was not really thinking about doodles or anything. So then I had some collections, obviously, with like movies, TV shows, and books to read. This was what I was using my bullet journal for, like a collection of lists at the time. And I believe that I did these collections in early April, so like maybe around this time, because then I wanted to do the monthly pages for May. And so I did these collections. I had others here of like products that I was buying and I wanted to keep track of, things to buy in here. And then I did my goals for 2017 and like a big future log. This is the rest of the future log. As you can see, super simple and super blend, but at the time, you know, if it's your first bullet journal, it doesn't have to be for Instagram. It doesn't have to be super pretty. It just has to be useful because you first have to learn the base of bullet journaling and then you do all the doodles and fun stuff. Again, as you can see, something just super simple, just because I saw lots of girls doing a cover page for each month and I was like, okay, let me try it. And I did this like mountains doodly thing. Then for my pages, again, I had a habit tracker and an expense tracker right here. And this was my habit tracker for May, and the one that I did until December pretty much. And had lots of habits here on the side and the days here at the top and a space for notes in this line here. And yes, this is not pretty, but it was really useful. And this is what I want to focus on in this video, is that you should start with the useful parts and the parts that matter in bullet journaling and not do and not think about any of the doodles that you should be doing in your themes. I didn't have any themes, and I think this is the best way to start. If you want to start a bullet journal, you should have different pages and try different things, but don't focus on the prettiness of it. If you read the Bullet Journal Method by Ryder Carroll, you know that his bullet journal doesn't have any doodles. It's just lists and pages and layouts that are extremely simple, because the goal of bullet journaling is to help organize your life and be more productive. Here are my weekly spreads, and yeah, that's basically it. I was not doing anything out of the simple part of bullet journaling, because this is what bullet journaling is. It's just lists and your weekly spreads and your layouts, extremely simplified. Then as time went on, I started doing some calligraphy, and of course this calligraphy was really in the beginner style, and I have a video explaining how to do calligraphy if you want to check that out. But I plan to have some live streams soon about calligraphy, so stay tuned for that as well. But I started doing some calligraphy and like some fun titles and adding pictures, because I didn't want to have a theme in my bullet journal, but I wanted to start spicing it all up. And I started this bullet journal in April, May, but only in like July and August was when I started decorating it. I started playing around with more like colors and the calligraphy that I was practicing. October, it's the same thing. And then I also tried a mood tracker here, just because this was a page that was extremely popular at the time, and I thought about giving it a shot. I quickly realized that I just wasn't using it for anything, so I didn't even finish it. And this is part of your bullet journal process, like doing pages and trying different things and not using them until the end just because they don't work out for you. This is what happened to my mood tracker in October. And then in November, my calligraphy was getting better. I did like a bigger calendar with the legend, and I tried spicing things up a little bit. I changed my weekly spread layouts, but this is how I did my first ever bullet journal. Now we're going to close the 2017 chapter, and I'm going to show you my 2025. So I've been posting all of these videos on my channel, but I just wanted to show you some of the things that I do different this time. So first of all, my bullet journal now is filled with color. And I'm going to start with here, for example, January. So as you can see, the vibe is pretty different, but I think I finally found at least for this year, the style that works for me, which is doodles, but keep it simple. This is the best combination, and I'm going to show you my 2018 bullet journal in a bit, but this is the perfect combination of a fun bullet journal with something extremely simple to do. So for this theme, I did blue flowers, and as you can see, this didn't took me long. It's probably like 15 minutes to do these pages, and I have a cover page for the month that it's beautiful. Blue is my favorite color, and a quote page for the month. Then this was my calendar for the month, and I still have space for everything, and I'm using a traveler's notebook here, not an A5 one, and I'm going to make a video soon about comparing both sizes if you're interested in that. But my bullet journal for these first 6 months of 2025 was a traveler's notebook, and I still had space for a calendar, for a mini calendar, for a section for next month, a to-do list, and a notes section, and I still have lots of space for doodles. And this is the perfect balance for me. You don't have to go all in and use watercolors and spend 2 hours making a page. I don't think that's worth it. I tried it though. For me, it's not worth it, because you're just going to use this page for a month. So why are you spending a long time doing something pretty for Instagram? Even for my weekly spreads, I had space for everything. 7 days of the week, plus a to-do section, and space for doodles. And I think these layouts are really easy to recreate in other themes. For example, I did the same thing for February. I have the same habits and a sleep and mood tracker, and I still have space for doodles. But this is my first weekly spread for February, which is really pretty. I love this weekly spread. I have space for all of the days of the week, and it looks super pretty, and it's just easy to recreate. This one took a little longer because I had to draw and paint all of these ribbons and stick stickers and, do these boxes. But it looks pretty, and this is the type of bullet journaling that I do. It takes a little bit of an extra time, this weekly spread in specific, but it's so worth it. And then for March, for example, I use more stickers. This is not my perfect style of bullet journaling because I like to doodle in my bullet journal still, But if you are busy and you don't want to doodle everything, you can just get stickers and use them in your bullet journal. This is for my March collection that it's still available on my shop, and you guys love this collection of plants and girls. I'm really happy that you did, but as you can see, it doesn't have the same power as this one. I think this one is much more powerful than this one, because this one I drew everything on the paper, and in this one I drew the stickers, but I just stick them to the paper, if that makes sense. So this was just not my perfect style of bullet journaling. Now, if this is too much for you and this is not enough for you, I'm going to show you my 2018 bullet journal. So in this bullet journal was when I started playing with more color and doodles. And in October of this year was when I posted my very first bullet journal setup on my YouTube channel. It's very cringy, it's very bad, but it's still up on my channel if you want to watch it, if you want to laugh a little bit, because I really wanted to put it out there. So I started with different things, I did lots of things that didn't work. I played around with a future log. Let me just take these notebooks out of here. I even did a future log for 2019 because I thought that I was going to fit 2 years in the bullet journal. How naive. But yeah, so I did basically the same lists and collections as my 2017 bullet journal, but I just did them a little bit better this time. So I had like games and movies and TV shows as well, just like in 2017, but they were like more fun. And this was January. This was my first theme in this bullet journal. And again, no doodles, just pictures, but I added a quote here. I started playing with other colors. I did these big weekly spreads with just like stickers and blues, and I was using like a ballpoint pen for titles, which is crazy, but at the time I didn't have lots of markers, so I just used whatever I had around the house. And this was my weekly spreads. Then February came, and I did the same thing because I didn't want to change my color, and I planned on doing just like blue for this bullet journal because my bullet journal was blue, so I didn't want to use other colors. But I quickly changed my mind, and in April I did this pink theme with lots of like pinks and purples, and then I even used like watercolors on plastic wrap to make these blobs of color in here. And I liked this idea so much that I replicated it for May, and I did the same thing. And this was still not the style that I have right now, but it was becoming that. And I even did a Pride Month theme for June because it's my birthday. And at this time I just did weekly spreads, honestly, because I didn't have much to plan. And I didn't even do a page for July. I just did this like fun weekly spread type of thing to just play around with colors. I think I got my first Crayola super tips around this time, and I was just playing with all the colors that I had. And then for August I did something more playful, a very bright pink theme, but it had doodles. I was starting to play around with doodles, and my calligraphy was getting better, and I started doing fun things. And then in September was when I went all in, and I used watercolors. I did like this leaf theme, and I posted on Amino, which is like a app, like a community app for bullet journalists and other communities, and I started posting on there before I started posting on my Instagram. And as you can see, like my style was becoming something more minimal but still fun to do, like with lots of doodles. And then I posted my first ever bullet journal video for my October theme, and this one took a long time to do because it was watercolors and I drew lots of things. This theme was super fun to do, and I was starting to play with lots of things. So this is like the type of theme that I would do right now, and maybe I'll recreate this theme in my bullet journal for 2025. Who knows? Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. And of course that after October I did another watercolors theme for November, and I did my very famous Stranger Things theme for December 2018 when the show streamed for the first time. I'm crazy about this show. It's my favorite show ever besides Bob's Burgers, but I did a theme inspired by it, and this is another step that I took in this journey that really made me think like, yeah, I'm really creative with bullet journal themes and taking ideas into bullet journal themes, and I really like to do that. So this was another step that I took, and I'm really happy I did. So yeah, these are my bullet journals for 2017 and 2018, and this is my for 2025. I really hope you took inspiration from this video, and let me know in the comments what advice you would give to someone that is just starting bullet journal, and when did you start bullet journal? I'm really curious to see when you guys all started this journey, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!